Hey guys, it's Billy from Team Kuribrohs here with Cormac with his Brandish list from today.
Yeah, this is the brand new deck from Saviours. I think everyone's getting kind of hyped about.
Yeah, people, just to show off what the deck's kind of like.
Yeah, exactly. Just what maybe some of the lists will look like heading into the new format. I know there's YCS Jersey in America next weekend. We have Irish Nationals the same weekend. So like we're kind of like having to really like get a whole lot of testing in like right now.
Really quickly
to hopefully get the list finalized for Nats. I took this deck to locals today and I took first place with it. Like it was fairly standard. It was like I think it was like 4 rounds and I only dropped 1 game in 4 rounds. It was like it's pretty strong.
To Altergeist, was it?
Yeah, to Altergeist game 1. Altergeist can be like a little bit of a grind in game 1, but like we play certain cards in the main deck that like help you play against sort of those stun strategies. And you'll see like with some of the card choices what we mean by that later on as we get into it. So I'll just get into the basic list that I played today. So obviously starting off the main one herself, Sky Striker Ace Ray. So in case anybody doesn't know what she does, she's a quick effect where she can tribute herself to summon a Sky Striker Link monster to your extra monster zone. And you can also just link her away if need be, but the importance of her effect is that because it's a quick effect, you can use it on your opponent's turn to add back certain cards. So like if your opponent doesn't clear one of these on their turn, then in phase you can just make a Shizuku, the blue one, and then you can add something from your deck to your hand. And the other effect of her is that if a Sky Striker Link leaves the field by an opponent's card effect or is destroyed by battle, she summons herself from the graveyard.
She brings herself.
Yeah, so she's a floater. She's absolutely insane.
And that's once per turn now, is it?
Yeah, they're both hard once per turn effects.
Okay.
But just the fact that like she's able to float, and then because of that, she's able on your turn to do additional damage. You can attack with her over something, and then you can just sack her off for a Kagari or a Shizuku. Oh, there's the table moving. Yeah, but yeah, no, she's just absolutely insane. Completely. She's obviously the heart and soul of the deck. She's the only main deck monster, but her value, her effects in particular, are going to be extremely underrated, and they're going to be what define a good Brandish player, I think, or Sky Striker player, knowing when to use the effects. So that's the main deck, Sky Striker, and then we're playing the Diabolos. Because
this is the Lair Darkness card.
Yeah, the card from the new Lair of Darkness structure deck. So we're playing this because we don't have any of the like Needle Fiber or the Summon Sorceress or any of those cards. So the deck kind of struggles to really push in for big damage quite easily, while also being able to clear the main monster zone to be able to use its spell cards. So we found this to just be like the easiest option, because you can just sack in for 3k, and then you can just make your opponent just like get rid of one of their cards. And then because it recurs itself in the graveyard, it just works so well. And just on the off chance that people don't know how you summon it, since Ray is a dark monster, when you tribute her for her effect, you can summon the Diabolos from your hand to your graveyard. So yeah, this is like the main sort of damage dealer, and especially early game and stuff like the mirror matches, this is vitally important because you need to get damage very quickly in the mirror match. So those are like the only real monsters, and then for the rest of the monsters in the main deck, we're just playing a bunch of hand traps. So the hand traps we decided to play today were Triple Ash, Triple Reaper, and then Double Dose Ogre. So the reasoning behind these choices was that Ash is just the most generic thing in this format, so it's obviously the best one to go for. Reaper we thought would be a good idea, especially like later on as the format progresses, as more people get Sky Striker cards, especially because the links are both super rares. They're going to be extremely easy to get.
That's cherry targets.
Yeah, so people are going to have them as their own cherry targets. So
you want to hit those.
Yeah. And then the Ghost Ogre was because they didn't have Droll and Lockbirds. I would play 3 Droll and Lockbird in the main deck. Christoph, he borrowed them off me for the regional last weekend. If you saw his deck profile, there you go. But he didn't give them back to me, and he's back in Glasgow. So hopefully I get them for Nats. Let's see. But Ghost Ogre actually came in a little bit clutch today in certain scenarios. Just because it trades 1 for 1. Which, and like this deck works really well with trading 1 for 1 because then you just gain advantage off of the next card I'm going to show off, this card. So like you can play Ghost Ogre and it can be pretty decent, but I would probably play Droll in the main deck. And the cherries is a little bit indicative of what we'll see in the rest of the main deck and what I'll explain by the end of it. So now those are all the main deck monsters. I think it's in the region of about 12. And now we're going to, because the deck is majority spelled, so we'll just move on to the spell cards. And here is the money card. Triple Sky Striker Mobilize Engage. This card is a mandatory 3-of. On the off chance anybody doesn't know what it does, it says if you control no monsters in your main monster zone, which is a stipulation that all of them say, you can add any Sky Striker card from your deck to your hand, and then if there's 3 more spells in your graveyard, you also draw a card afterwards. You just cannot add itself, but it is not hard once per turn. So if you have multiples of these, or if you use one of these and you make a Kagari and add it back, you can activate another one. It's absolutely insane. This is your main source of advantage in the deck. Knowing when to use it, especially early game, and knowing not to just gun this card too easily is one of the most important aspects of it, as we'll see with some of the later cards in the deck. But this is obviously just absolutely insane. There's a reason why they're about €65 each in Europe, and they're like $100 in America. It's an absolutely insane card. It's a must. Then for the other main trios we play, that are Sky Striker cards, we play triple Widow Anchor and triple Hornet Bit, or Hornet Drones now, the TCG.
Yeah.
So Widow Anchor is your main form of disruption.
Plays, isn't it?
What's that?
These are the quick plays.
Yeah, these are the other main quick plays.
Another one is.
There's one more quick play, but these are the main ones that you like are going to be using most often. So this is your main form of disruption in your main deck.
Yeah.
Because it works as an effect negation, and then when you have 3 more spells in your grave, it also works as a mind control. And it doesn't stop your opponents, the monsters you take from your opponents from attacking. So this can also work as a way of pushing for OTKs.
Yeah.
If your opponent leaves up a couple of big monsters on their board,
you can take all of them.
You can just take all of them. You can use and because none of these cards are like card once per turn, they just have stipulation no monster in the main monster zones. If you have 2 of these, you can just chain one to another.
Yeah.
And then you just do like a whole boatload of damage.
Or like if you take one, you can link away with it if you draw the other ones later on.
Yeah, exactly. You can link away with all their stuff and just that. But it's also obviously your main form of disruption when you're going first. But and then Hornet Bit or Hornet Drones, this is probably the most generic card actually out of all of this.
Does the taking effect target?
This does target. So the majority of these effects in the deck do target.
Okay.
They're first effects anyway. So that's kind of one thing. So if you have a deck that like has a lot of cards.
Oh, sorry, it's the first effect targets.
And then the second one takes control. Yeah. So a lot of these cards do target, but it's not the most worrisome thing about the deck.
No.
Okay. And then Hornet Drones is your token summoner. So it's another way to get into your link monsters if you don't have Ray.
Yeah.
And then this is also another way to just sort of link climb, because you can like again chain one to another if you have no monsters in your main monster zones. And then you can just start link climbing into link 3s, link 4s, if need be. If you need to just like get like a big monster on board, this is your main way of getting into it. And this is a card you will see not only in pure Sky Striker list, but also in Goki and Spiral, because the fact that it is a warrior.
Yeah.
So this is probably like, honestly, it is like the second best card in the deck after Engage. Yeah, and Engage is only so good because at times you can just search this.
Yeah.
So you can just search a monster or you can search the Ray, obviously. But these are like your other main trios in the archetype, at least from what I was playing today. You could potentially play 2 Widow Anchor. It is not necessarily the trio. It's not a mandatory trio, because I may as well just get this out the way. This is a going second list. We're choosing to blind second. So having a form of disruption is not necessarily the most important thing. This is mainly just in here as a sort of an OTK push.
Yeah, to take their stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And also the games do get into grind, so there are times where you will like have to reset these off like a multi-roll and whatnot. But yeah, so like you don't have to play 3 of this, but it is, I would say, maybe recommended. So then we just have the other like 1-of Sky Striker cards. 1 Afterburner, 1 Jamming Wave, 1 Share Cannon, 1 multi-roll, and then 1 Area 0.
Okay.
So we play 1 and 1 of each of these because you can search them out very easily in the deck. With,
this pops a monster.
This is the monster.
It pops a set card.
It pops a spell
trap card.
Yeah. So this is the main way that you clear your floodgates, because this card only pops set.
Just pops set ones, and then a monster.
And then a monster. So yes, these cards are the opposite of each other.
The DD Crow, that's your reborn your opponent's monster now?
Yeah, and then this is the multi-roll, this is the Spellbook of Judgment.
Judgment type card,
yeah, exactly. And it can also be used to sack off the Area 0, whose effect is also essentially sort of a holoduality.
Yeah.
So you target a card you control and then reveal the top 3 of your deck, and then you just add 1 Brandish card, or Sky Striker card, and then send the target card to the graveyard. This card doesn't come up too much. Majority of the time that you're using it is if you're lacking a monster and you need to sack it off a multi-roll.
Yeah.
It's not really that mandatory, but in the times that it does come up, it will be very necessary. It also was very good against the Goki and Spiral boards, who give you an Ibli. So you can either make a mermaid or you can target the Ibli with this and have a way to just clear your main monster zone, so that your board is clear to activate the rest of these cards.
Yeah.
So like this card is mainly just here as a sort of a utility factor. The multi-roll, this is one of those cards that will define the good Sky Striker players from the bad, knowing when to use it, knowing when to commit to it, knowing when to hold and what the correct things to get are. The DD Crow is really good because it can interrupt your opponent's plays, and also the fact that, again, it serves as an OTK pusher because you take one of their monsters and link them away for higher attack stuff.
Now this guy that you take off this can attack.
This can attack, but you use it to link away and all this stuff. Exactly, that's the idea. And especially it works against other decks that have it's targeting effects in the graveyard, so against altar guys to hit the thing with Tag Road Manifestation. Trickstar, the Reincarnation. This is also really important in the mirror match to clear their rays from their graveyard.
And Goki, you can hit one of the targets for the
rematch, or for like Soul Charge if they have like a big link monster to stop them. Yeah, this card is just again great utility. You can potentially side more of it for certain matchups, but it's not that necessary. The reason for 1 and 1 of each of these is that because they're so easily searchable and then so easily recurable with the link monsters, you don't ever really need more than 1 of each of them. There's the argument for maybe double jamming wave if the format gets very grindy with Octoghosts. And then maybe double Afterburner if there's a lot of just sort of problem monsters in the format. But as sort of a basic list from the start of like this Scotch River format, 1 and 1 is perfectly fine. And then move on to some more sort of the generic spell cards for this deck. Again, because we said we're blinding second, we decide to main triple Twin Twister, because it serves as back row removal, and then it will also more than likely also get 2 spells.
One or 2 spells.
Yeah, itself, and then probably 1 other spell card in your graveyard. So even then drawing multiples isn't that dead, because you can just pitch one for another, you're 2/3 of the way there to triggering your secondary effects of all your Skyscraper cards. So this card is just insane. Even against the matchups where like it's not that great against, so maybe against like Goki, where they don't have that many back row, a lot of them are taking to playing the Curious build with Griffin, so they set a Floodgate like an Imperial Order. So you need this at all times, so that once you activate any spell, once they flip the Imperial Order, you have this to deal with their problem cards. So it's almost never dead, and it can also sometimes just hit like your own like dead cards if you need them. Just get 1 spell card. It's just great utility. We're not playing MST because we're not playing the additional field spells at the moment. I know the OCG are taking to play some copies of MST, but I don't feel like that the format is so back row heavy that we need
to play an extra.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think these are perfectly fine. Other 3 ofs is Foolish Burial Goods. I suppose just reveal it now because we're setting the Metal Fuzz Fusion. We prefer this engine to the Tune Table engine because of the fact that the Tune Table engine is very susceptible to things such as Drill, which a lot of people will be playing, and I see a lot of people are now taking to siding Shared Ride. That's gotten a bit hyped in America in particular. So the Tune Table engine is much worse than this is. This gets 2/3 of your spells, your Skyscraper stuff online, and then just free upstarts is really, really important. In most matchups today, I resolved at least 2 of these, if not 3. Because
this is basically an upstart.
It is, it's basically an upstart.
So you might as well show the upstart, I guess.
Yeah, may as well show the upstart because again, we're going for consistency. This is these are just filler spells. Because you just want to get
something blinding grave.
You want to get the extra draws off your end gauge basically as soon as possible. So these are again just sort of filler cards, and then alongside this, the filler cards would be a Foolish Burial, Reinforcement of the Army, and then the other like sort of tech slot is Monster Reborn. So again, these 2 are just sort of filler cards. This gets to your Ray. This can pitch your Diabolos, or if you open the Diabolos, you can send a Ray to grave, so you can get a Ray online for your links. So that's really, really strong. Reborn is because you actually burn through the links very, very quickly.
So you just can bring back the...
So a 4th copy of either of the links is fantastic. And then also, again, OTK pushes against the opponent's stuff. If they leave like really big monsters and you like clear them and then you take them and push them up the game. So a lot of these cards just again just serve to sort of fill the role of like getting to your 3 spells in your graveyard, and a lot safer than things such as the Tune Table engine. So that's why we went for these. And then the last 3 cards we play in the main deck, because again we're blinding second, it's triple evenly matched. So this card is just absolutely insane. It beats every single back row deck. It beats the really bad players in the mirror match who will like choose to go first and go multi-roll set 5, and then just absolutely blow them out with all this. Because then they use all their spell cards. They set up their stuff. They're left with no resources to still get banished. And then even against Goki and Spiral, because of the things such as the field spell to switch out the ways to clear the Ibli, and then because we're playing certain card in our extra deck, you can clear the Ibli very easily from your board, and then afterwards just evenly their entire thing away. And most decks in the TCG can't end on a Trigate Wizard. Spiral can, but Goki can't, so this is again just sort of a win button against Goki if they put everything into that first turn combo and don't make a Trigate Wizard. So and this again, because we're going second, this is the most obvious card. But I suppose to just further explain the idea of going second, so many of these cards work so well, again, so much advantage off of the fact that you can clear your opponent's board so easily. These 2 in particular being the most notable, and then also using the anchor as a form of like removal for your opponent's things to link away with. It just makes much more sense for us to be blinding second and taking advantage of the fact that your opponent will be setting up a board. And again, because we're playing 8 hand traps, and you can probably play more, you can very easily disrupt their board, and they're not having that many negates on their field, and then you just clear their board and you have so much more advantage than they do, because you get access to your engage, but then just pushes you so further ahead. So that's the reason why we decided to go with blind second for today. And it worked out pretty well. It worked out okay. Most people weren't expecting it. A lot of people were expecting this deck to go first instead of a bunch of chops. But I think it's taken people by surprise, but we'll see how it works when it becomes a bit more known in the format. So we'll move on to the extra deck. So first off, 3 copies of Sky Striker is Kagari. You will make this card every single turn. This card is absolutely insane. So its effect is that it requires 1 non-fire Sky Striker Ace monster. So it just requires Ray. So you can just link away Ray or use Ray's effect to go into
the Sky Striker token.
Or the Sky Striker token or anything like that.
Or the water.
Or the other link, which I will show off now. So these cards are so good because they go into each other the entire time.
It's kind of like the Zodiac mechanic.
Essentially, yeah. You can only summon one of them. You can only summon them once per turn in the same way as Zoo, but that doesn't matter because their effects are just insane that you don't need to push too much. And you usually go through like 3 Kagaris and at least 2 Shizukus every game. So if you could go through multiples in a turn, you would go through them even quicker. So Kagari is your graveyard recursion, and it gives this deck basically just infinite resources. Because it adds back any Sky Striker spell cards from your graveyard to your hand, and then it becomes really big because for every spell card in your graveyard, it gains 100 attack. And then Shizuku is similar, except instead of gaining attack, all your opponent's monsters lose 100 attack for every spell in your graveyard. And then at the end phase, it adds any Sky Striker spell card from deck to your hand with a different name from your opponent, from one in your graveyard. An important thing to note about Shizuku, when in tandem with the multi-roll, if I can find it here now, is that if you have the pair of these cards up together, you can choose the order in which you want to resolve both these effects in the end phase. So if you're looking to add a specific card from deck to your hand, such as Engage, but you already have an Engage in your graveyard, you can resolve your multi-roll, put your Engage from your graveyard back into your spell and trap zone, and then your Shizuku can add another Engage for your next turn. Or the other way around, you could use Shizuku's effect first to resolve. Search a Widow Anchor. Activate the Widow Anchor immediately, targeting your own Shizuku if it's turn 1, for example. And then it goes to your graveyard, and then your multi-roll resolves, resetting the Widow Anchor, so you have a form of destruction on your opponent's turn. So there's a bunch of cool stuff involving Shizuku. But the most important one out of all of them will definitely be your Kagari, because that is how you win the majority of your games, is by just recurring with stuff like the engages to out-resource your opponent so quickly. So these are the most important ones. And like you go through all these every game, but because of this, and because of the fact that you need no monsters in your main monster zone to activate all your spell cards, more often than not, you're not making that many more links unless it's out of necessity or you're going
to get Kaiju or...
So the rest of this extra deck is very, very flexible, so we just decided to go with a bunch of random stuff today. So we went for Nightmare Mermaid. This is to link off the Ibli, so you have the special summon. We're not playing Ibli or anything like that, so like the effect is irrelevant. But it's just there so we can actually play the game. Play Cerberus is just a form of removal, and the extract is clear problem cards if need be, if you don't have access to Afterburner, for example. Phoenix, this is pretty important because this will be your way to most consistently out floodgates in the main deck, because the only way you can really out them in the main deck within the engine is to use Afterburner that requires 3 spells in grave, because Jamming Wave will only hit a set card. So if they have a floodgate already placed up, like an anti-spell or something like that, you need to have something like this to clear it quickly, so that you don't get just sort of blown out of the game. And then we also play the Unicorn. This is very rarely ever come up, but it's just there for those specific scenarios where you need to clear a card off, or if you need to link away 3 monsters, just so you definitely can activate all your spell cards. And then for the other links, other extra like cards we're playing, we chose to play Triple Burst Dragon today. So this is a sort of interesting card. It requires 2+ monsters except tokens. So what happens fairly often is that if you need to make it, you just sack off a token and another monster into like one of these links, and you just make this with like a link 1 and like a link 2. So what this card does is that if in damage step, if you're going to activate a spell or trap card or a monster effect, you can negate that effect. Which is very important in things like the mirror match. So if you beat over one of the link monsters, they can't trigger the ray, so it stops the loop in that sense. And then also, it also has an effect where on the turn, except that it is summoned, you can tribute this card and target a link 2 or lower monster in your graveyard and special summon it. Which means you basically get to summon back all of these.
Oh, and they get their effect.
They get their effects because their effects trigger on special summon and not on link summon. So if this manages to stick on the board, you're just able to get back another link essentially, and like you can get a Kagari, and then like again work on link climbing and get access to another monster from or another power spell basically essentially. It is also just sort of a big link 3.
24.
Exactly, and like decode never really comes up, so like, that's just it. Play Trispana. This is just to deal with more backward decks again. Like if somebody just goes step 5, this is just a fairly easy way to out it.
dealing damage is now important as well.
Exactly, dealing damage as well is also important because of the new time mechanic, so this is also pretty strong. We just decided to play the 2-link 3s because we can't extend onto our board with this because it'll banish whatever monster wants to, whereas you can put monsters underneath this, so that works out. And then, like, just to show off the amount of space we have in this section, I just decided to show off that the Ultimate Falcon, the Awakened Dragon in the side deck, which we won't show off today because it's very like locals reliant dependent.
Yeah.
But this is just like an option, and then we have Isolde
Cherry's
and for Cherry's Targets. Yeah. Like honestly, the only cards you ever make consistently in this section deck are these 6.
And this is like the Cherry's target for this deck.
Basically, what people will be cherrying most often against this deck will be the Kagari, because it is the card that like manages to just sort of push your deck over the edge once you get access to an engage. It's the one that makes the deck sort of insane. These cards are very much just sort of flex spots. You could put in almost anything you want. You could play like a rank 4 if you feel like that. Like
play a cowboy,
yeah, cowboy for the time. You could play like Board Load if it ever decides to come up.
Yeah.
There's so many options you can have here. Like none of these cards are ever like mandatory. I would say maybe the Nightmares are very, very much sort of advised.
Yeah.
But like these cards are very much just sort of like meta dependent. The only cards that will ever sort of stay the same would be these 6.
Yeah.
So yes, this is the list that I played here for locals today. Came first place. It's just a basic idea of what I think the Sky Striker list will look like going into the future, and it's sort of a framework for what people may look for when they're looking to build their own Sky Striker decks. I know it's kind of expensive at the moment with engages, but if people like pick up the deck over the next week or two, especially in America, if you're preparing for your Nats, and especially other European nations that are preparing for their nationals, if they're looking for a list that might seem sort of reliable and solid, I'd recommend something like this. I think it's pretty strong, pretty solid.
Thank you very much, Trevor.
Cool, thank you very much.
Cheers. Bye.